Like a really great Rev B welcome, because this thing has been 3 years in the making. Please make some noise for our friend, Chris Benjamin.
Hello. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Just make sure my clicker is working. Hey, it's working. Was that the... Oh, I was like, that's not me. That's me. What's up, y'all? My name is Chris Benjamin. It's really nice to see so many familiar faces. I only have a little bit of time with you guys, so I'm excited to jump right into it. I'm here for the whole event, so whatever we don't get through, let's talk afterwards. By a show of hands, how many people here have kids? Lots of kids, baby makers. So for anybody that has kids here, you guys remember that the first birthday is as much of a celebration to the parents that we did it, that we didn't fucking kill them, as is this kid's first birthday, am I right? And I'm no different. So my son Hendrix just turned 1, and in Chris fashion, I was trying to be the host, doing the most, and we're having a little birthday party. And as I am Martha Stewarting the table and perfectly manicuring the kebabs and koftas, I'm having a casual conversation with a family friend when she lays on me, I think we're going to sell the house to somebody. You guys ever been there? It felt like, actually, saying it to you guys now, it feels like some Trojan horse type shit. Like she knew I was going to be vulnerable in a week, like I wasn't going to be able to defend myself at my kid's birthday party, so she's breaking this news on me. And you have to understand, it's a family friend, so I'm approaching this sale very delicately, but like most things in my life, I just assume they're going to go my way. So as I am laying out the hummus and the baba ganoush, trying to make it look a certain way, I'm really focused on trying to articulate a response that would allow me to couch it for later. Needless to say, I didn't get the listing. It actually goes active today. $1.5 million deal. But you know, it all really does happen for a reason, because but for that experience, I wouldn't have this story to share with you guys. I think I'd rather the check. I could have just made the story up. But the reason why I share it with you is because my experience as a video creator comes from my experience as a real estate agent. You guys following me? So the perspective that I want to be on the same page with everybody is, we are the same. We are content creators, but we are real estate agents. And that is really the perspective and the experience that we're on this journey. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about how creativity comes in waves. We're going to touch on how creativity comes from doing, like doing the shit. We're going to talk about how creativity comes from trying hard. And if we have enough time, I'm going to share with you guys a couple plays that I'm running. And if we don't, it's all good. We'll talk about it later. Creativity comes in waves. You guys ever heard that? Things come in waves. One thing that I have personally struggled with, is any time that I'm not feeling on. And when I say on, it's like that general feeling of positivity. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like waking up, feeling happy, feeling energized, feeling confident. You guys know that, like on feeling? A little less than 2 years ago, I had a wonderful opportunity to speak at the Tom Ferry Summit, and I know a lot of my buddies were there. And it was wonderful, the feedback that I received, and I was incredibly grateful for it. The struggle was that I think some of you guys can relate to. Have you ever had people acknowledge you and give you praise, and all you really want to say is, I wish you knew how I felt inside. I wish you knew how I felt inside. You guys ever been there? Before I got to the Tom Ferry Summit, I had just climbed Mount Everest. And climbing Mount Everest was a huge goal that I had set out to do for about 10 years. And the challenge was I fell into this terrible, like pool-size, lap-size state of depression. And it was my version of depression. I was still going to work. I was still making my calls. I was still selling houses and putting out the content. But everything I was doing was through this lens of gray. And I don't want to sound unprivileged and not grateful, but I couldn't cheer for myself. You guys ever been there? You guys ever been there where you don't feel like you can cheer for yourself? And then it gets even worse because as people are cheering for you, you feel even more like a phony. You guys know that feeling? So what I learned from that experience was that they do come in waves. And about 7 months later, I was on my baby moon. It's an excuse to take a vacation in 2024. But I was on my baby moon on this exact beach in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, when I was sitting in the sand with my wife, Paige, and I said to her, I'm really worried about the haze and the funk that I'm in as the baby is approaching, because the fear is that if I don't shake this soon, this is like my new state. I don't think grouchy people are born grouchy, it's like the demeanor that's built. And I really wish that I had something profound to tell you guys that I found in the sand that day that pulled me out of my rut. But truthfully, I pulled out my iPhone, I looked at the calendar, I saw that I had gotten back 7 months ago, and that enough kind of felt like enough, right? I'm not saying that I felt better immediately, but I started feeling better when I wanted to get better. You guys been there? Creativity, like our emotions, come in waves. I heard Bruce Lee say this quote one time that says, I never get too happy when things are good, but I never get too sad when things are bad. Be like the water, my friend. And I remember hearing Bruce Lee say that in this video, and I was like, that's so fucking morbid and depressing. Don't be too happy? I'm built on being 110. And then I thought to myself, I don't think Bruce Lee is trying to tell us not to feel the tremendous highs and tremendous lows of our emotions. I think what Bruce Lee is trying to tell us is that we are not our emotions, right? So the same way that the waves can come crashing on the beach, and the same way that the tide can pull the water out and leave everything still, is the same way that we have to acknowledge our emotions. And we have to acknowledge creativity, because sometimes, tell me I'm wrong, we are Kelly Slater charging the shit out of the content, barreling wave after wave, putting out banger after banger. Am I right? The flow state, you guys know that, the flow state. It's truth, I've been in that state. Sometimes we are putting one foot in front of another, and literally you can feel the top of the fucking world at your fingertips. The shit is flowing. I don't want to belabor the point when we're in the flow state. The real challenge is, what do we do when the waves aren't coming in set after set in the perfect size? You know what I'm saying? What do we do when the shit is not going in your favor? We need to be better to ourselves. I need to be better at myself. This whole perpetual, I am not smart, I am not creative, I don't have the ideas, I don't know how they do it, that perpetuates the problem. You guys following me? Young Chris. About 10, I'm not going to lie, that maybe 12 years ago, I ran an ultra marathon in the summer of law school called the Big Basin Trail Run. It's a 50-kilometer race. It shakes out to be 35 miles with 9,000 feet of elevation gain. It's a very challenging run. And at about mile 30, that's my law school graduation photo, at about mile 30, I fell. I don't know, do we have any runners? I'm not going to do the poll. Runners? So I didn't have a lot of experience running, but I said this is a goal that I think I can accomplish, and I wanted to set the stakes high. So I run this marathon, and at mile 30 on the trail, I fall. My legs cramp. I wasn't hydrating the right way. I wasn't fueling with salt. Anybody that knows that runs marathons is you need more salt. So I cramp, and I fall, and I pick myself up. I look around. I'm just fuck, let's keep going. So I shake it off, I start running again, and I fall. But the second time I fall is by the edge of the trail, and I thought to myself, if I really fall down this ledge, this is going to be bad. So I pick myself up. I'm not really running at this point. I kind of walk to the road, and for the third time, I fucking fall. And this time, 4 miles from the finish line, I sit down on the road, and instead of getting up immediately, I just sat there thinking, what did I just get myself into? What did I just put myself into? It looked like God. I will never forget this moment. I'm sitting on the side of the road, and a VW era van drives right by me. And I mentioned that this was called the Santa Cruz Big Basin Trail Run. Lots of hippies, if you guys don't know Santa Cruz. And the man is wearing a cut-off tank top, cut-off denim shorts, hair flowing down his shoulders. "Hey, you need some help?" he said. I looked at him, I was like, "Jesus?" I got in that van faster than a real estate agent asks for a referral. And before I knew it, we were at the finish line, and it was over. And I'll never forget getting back to the race area. I didn't even have the courage to collect my shirt because I lost. I was 21 years old. My parents had driven me to this race. I remember crying to my mom and dad, and we left. And I remember it very clearly because that summer, I spent clerking for a judge. And all summer, I had the opportunity to reflect on these emotions. You guys know what I'm talking about when you get in your way? You fast forward about 10 years. So I'm taking you guys through the whole life, but you guys are going to follow it. You fast forward 10 years, and I have a wonderful opportunity to climb one of the biggest mountains in South America in the Bolivian Andes called Illimani. And it's supposed to be a beautiful climb, but I can't really tell you how it ends because we failed. So I leave for the summit of this mountain, and I get terribly lost up and down these snowfields of ice with my guides. And I've mentioned it twice already. Things generally go my way. That's a mindset thing. I'm very grateful we didn't step off the side of a cliff. But we failed. And I come back to my tent after a month in the Andes with no victory. And I sit down in front of my vestibule, and I put my hands in my face, and I cry. The Western guide, Adam Clark, comes to me, and he says, "Chris, what you will learn is that the mountains we do not summit is what makes you a true mountaineer." And I was like, "Adam, the mountains we don't summit? This is going to happen again?" And it took me only a few days that time to really bounce back. And don't get me wrong, I felt my feelings, but I didn't feel them for a summer, right? I was 32 at that point. The race, I was 21. And I understand I wasn't a bitch when I was 21, but as a young kid, and I think being like the product of an immigrant family, maybe you guys can relate to this, anything short of a success, anything short of a gold star sometimes feels like a complete failure, right? And it's not that case. So I handled Illimani much better. I had more life experience, and I bounced back quicker because it is those life experiences that allow us to handle the woman, God bless her, who rejects you at your kid's birthday party. And it sounds a little bit extreme for me to say that it's these experiences like climbing mountains and failing to finish marathons that I am gleaning these like lessons from, but I want you guys to understand that these emotions are waves. And when you say, "I am not creative," it's a wave. So I ask you guys, how are you handling those waves? Creativity comes from doing. I love that Tim sort of foreshadowed this. Creativity comes from doing. That fucking statement to me feels like harder to solve than the Da Vinci Code. Where do the ideas come from? That's what Tim and Katie asked me to talk about today. They said, "We need you to tell people where creativity comes from." And I'm just like, fuck you guys. It's like really hard. So I've really been trying to develop that idea. Where do the ideas come from exactly? And 2 months back, I don't know if any of you guys have had the opportunity to go on one of those TF roadmap tours. They're a lot of fun. They're like this. They're pretty intimate. I had a wonderful experience at getting to present at one of these. And it was an audience similar to this. And I wasn't prepared for it. But after the presentation, Tom says, "Oh, we're not done. Chris," however he talks, "where do the ideas come from?" And I wish I could articulate to you what I said in front of that like 800 people crowd, but I was like, I don't know. I didn't say anything very profound. So as a result of that, and in preparation for this, I really have been saying, where do the ideas come from? Because you might be surprised, they're not just fucking getting dumped all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work like that. So if you think it's supposed to be like that for you, it's not. It's not. Creativity comes from doing. Creativity comes from doing. And the fortunate thing about doing in our business, you guys know, is that's the only way that we get paid, right? The action. What's beautiful about the content is that the doing to get paid is where creativity lives. You guys follow me yet? The more buyer consultations that we go on, the more listing appointments that we take, the more houses that you show, the more people that you connect with is where creativity lives. You guys following? We are not content creators in a vacuum. We are real estate content creators. So the inception, the nugget, is in the shit. It's in the do, right? And the do for us is selling houses. I was on the phone with Eric Simon, also known as the Broke Agent, in preparation of this. And Eric shared with me very transparently the struggle that he feels in coming up with real estate content. And I was like, what do you mean? And then it really clicked. You have to understand, Eric doesn't sell houses anymore. When was the last time he showed a buyer a home? When was the last time he showed a seller a home? When was the last time he went on a listing appointment? He's not making real estate content in that sense because he's not in the trenches. Why do you guys think Tim Macy's content's so off the mark? Eric Simon is arguably, thank you, I'm just kidding. I only have like a couple jokes that were planned. I'm glad that one hit. Eric Simon is arguably one of the most creative people in the world, I would say, right? Not just in the real estate vacuum, but he's incredibly creative. And he's incredibly, how do I say this? He has tons of life experience. However, the content creation for real estate comes from the real estate. So keep in mind that the content is supposed to be a reflection of your business. I don't think many of you guys were following my journey many years back, but if you were starting to watch me when we started doing all this, the content looked different, right? I feel very fortunate that I have like more of a listing business today, but what you would notice about that is most of the content I'm putting out is listing related, right? It's not because I just want to make listing videos, no. It's because the content is me, right? So if I have a bunch of listings coming to the market, I'm very sorry that I'm not able to give you this market update. I will show up consistently, but I'm putting out creative listing stuff. You guys following me? And 5 years ago, my business looked different. So the content looked different. Following? The do that got you here is selling houses, correct? The do that got you here is meaningful relationships with people like that. The do that we need to acknowledge is that the same place that we get paid is the same place creativity lives. Where rubber meets the road, and this is not what the presentation is about being disciplined to write it down, to jot it in your notebook, and to come back to it later. Following? This is how the business looks differently, much more listing focused. Number 3, creativity comes from trying hard. And I love that Katie and Tim have sort of touched on this and foreshadowed a little bit. But creativity comes from trying really hard. And in my opinion, trying hard means showing up consistently. So, oh no, we're not there yet. Trying hard means showing up consistently. As I was preparing for this speech, everything was pulling me in another direction. Have you guys ever been there? You allocate time to do something for a client or to work on something, and then everything else gets pulling you in another direction? I give you the prime example, and it highlights working hard at the finest moment. If you have shoot a video on your calendar, what's your name, brother? Truth. Yep. Great name, Chris. Truth. If you have film a video on your calendar and you open up a new escrow, congratulations, and the home inspection is scheduled at the same time you were supposed to film a video, which one do you show up to? Home inspection. Why? Because we're fucking real estate agents. Right? The content part about our business is the part where it comes from trying hard, right? He's not the only one. He's not the only one. So you go to the home inspection. So when do the ideas happen, right? Where does the creativity happen? If the goal is to create a business that is based on video content and getting the phone to ring based on making videos, then I wish I had like something more delicate to share. That means after the home inspection or after the kids go to bed, you come up with the fucking ideas. I'm sorry, you know? You don't like to stay up at night? No worries, you got your morning routine? No problem. Wake up before your morning routine to start dialing in these ideas. There is no substitute for this shit because it's not what's getting you paid directly, right? It's what is building the foundation. It is what will eventually get the phone to ring. And I'm not, this is in transparency. I am a real estate video creator, but don't be misled. I host open houses. I throw events, right? I knock on these doors. I make the motherfucking phone calls. It's working hard. And I keep saying working hard, but the truth is, it's doing whatever it takes if this is the goal, right? Earlier this year, I set out to climb a mountain called Aconcagua. It's the largest mountain outside of the Himalayas. It's right under 22,000 feet, and it's in Argentina. And it gave me a tremendous amount of fear because it was the first time that I really tested myself since I had the baby. And I think many of you guys know or have heard of my wife, Paige. She's a wonderful woman. She's a doc, and as a result of being a surgeon, she will leave to work at maybe 5 a.m. It's not too uncommon for anybody that has like healthcare in their family. You guys know what I'm talking about? They leave super early. So as my wife Paige leaves the house at 5 a.m. every day, and I am thinking to myself, what do I do to get prepared for this climb if I can't go to the gym? I don't have like a home garage. What do I do? What do I do? I put a box in my living room, and I would do step-ups every single day, between 800 and 1,000. And it would take me maybe more than an hour every morning. And some mornings, Hendrix would wake up before he was supposed to. And what did I do? I held him and I did the step-ups, right? Creativity comes from trying hard. And trying hard comes from discipline. Right? Thank you. I've mentioned Eric a few times today, but I shared with him this story that I'm about to share with you guys. I started making videos consistently about 5 years ago. Mom took me to a Tom Ferry Elite Retreat conference. I was coming from practicing law. I had no business in real estate. And I said, what could I do to help the family? So I started making videos, right? Like, what could I do to contribute if I wasn't bringing business in the door? Tom said, show up. I fucking showed up. And I began to show up pretty consistently. And like many of you guys, I would imagine, you're like, man, I'm fucking doing this. Where's the acknowledgement? Because there are faces in here. Jason was in here somewhere. I've mentioned the broke agent. If Matt Leonetti is in here, he was one. But there were a handful of video creators that I was like, show me some fucking love. Like, show me some love. I'm out here doing it. Where are you guys like backing me up, right? And it's funny saying it out loud to this audience because they are my friends now, right? Like I have a close, meaningful relationship. But at the time, I said, fuck these fools. Straight up. Fuck these fools. And what did I do? I pouted a little bit. I didn't stop, which I think some people might have. And I said, try fucking harder. Show up more regularly. Show up more consistently. Be undeniable, right? Because at some point, the views don't matter. The followers don't matter. The people who you think are not watching you don't matter, because your conduct speaks for itself, right? And your ability to show up day in and day out, day in and day out when nobody is paying attention to you is where the money is made. You following me? I shared that with Eric, right? I told him that story, and he laughed, he giggled. I know Derek knows that, and I think a few people know this story. So when I say this to Eric, he's like, well, do you want to know a story? So yeah, give me the fucking story. In 2020, COVID hits, right? And at the same time, Luca, the founder of Actually Agents, have you guys ever heard of that meme account? Luca is the man. Begins to really pop off, right? He's beginning to really start hitting his wave. And Eric, whether we want to attribute it to like masculine bravado or testosterone, he makes it his mission in life. I will not be the second biggest meme account. No fucking chance. And it's ironic because we're talking about memes, but the joke is on the rest of us because he birthed a media company out of it. It was that competition that drove a guy making memes to wake up earlier than his East Coast counterpart so that he could post the stupid Father's Day joke first in the home inspection. You guys know what I'm talking about? Eric was posting content on his honeymoon. Honeymoon. Yeah, there's some giggles. Some of you guys are like, no fucking chance I'm posting on my honeymoon. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And I don't mean this disparagingly. If you want to be undeniable, and you want to create the next media company, or you want to throw an event like this, you post on your honeymoon. You guys see what I'm saying? It's a metaphor for everything. That hard that you think you are doing is not hard enough. And all of that hard that you are doing builds the confidence to keep doing. You following me? We're going to take a 180. We're going to quickly take a 180 in 12 seconds. Do you guys know Dan McKinnon from Sarasota, Florida? Real? What's up? So Dan McKinnon is a good friend of mine, good colleague of mine through the internet relationships. And him and I have a mantra. We share ideas and we have a mantra. Why not us? Why not us? Why not us that puts out the content with the ideas that we had? Why not us selling the houses that we want to sell? Why not us that has that balanced lifestyle where they get to spend time with their family, but they still show up consistently and they're still running a phenomenal business? Why not us? So I want you guys to say that with me. All together. Why not us? All right, now we take the 180. I hope your mindset is right because we're going to run through some shit really fast. These are the plays that I'm running. Now that you guys are gassed up and motivated, I hope you are a little bit. I just want to share with you guys some plays that I'm running. I feel like I should have just mic dropped and walked off the stage with that Why Not Us, but now that we're here. That's me running with Tim. I thought this was like a good metaphor. That's me running with my mom, and that's me pretending to run with Derek because he's out of shape. Okay, so this is my marketing CMA. If you guys scan this QR code, it will take you to my template and you can download it. You can also get all these slides later. This is my marketing CMA. So when I go on my listing presentation and I am talking about what my unique value add is, my unique value proposition, it's that I am creating content, I am building an audience, I am putting you in front of people that the MLS is not putting. Everything that you guys are doing, we've just tried to put into a Marketing Matters CMA. I wish Tim Smith was here. I pulled that title from Tim Smith. I went on his website and I thought it was cool. I went on the agency website and I saw their luxury stuff and I thought it was cool. It's a screenshot of my YouTube analytics. That's really weak compared to some of you guys' YouTube page. Screenshots of my Instagram analytics. It's just showing them what we're doing. Scan that QR code, make this shit your own. my CMA magazine. I've been really proud of this lately. So you know how like all the coaches tell you to door knock around your open houses? So you have an open house, you want to market to the neighbors. My coach was like, give him a CMA. And I was just like, dude, fucking CMAs are lame. Like, you're going to hand this guy a CMA? So I was like, let's make this cooler. So I made this thing that I'm calling my CMA magazine. The first couple pages have real estate market data about the neighborhood. And then there's some cool factoids. And then I highlight my house. And it looks like a magazine. Kind of cool, right? So I print these, they're at my open houses, but this is what I'm door knocking. And I really believe that this shit's living on people's coffee table. It doesn't say my listing at the top, that's the city, Covina. Welcome to the San Gabriel Valley. You guys see what I'm saying? So that's another QR code that goes to that. Content pillars. These aren't really plays to run in the sense that I want you guys to like copy paste, but if you scan this, you'll get the 2024 content pillars that I'm kind of leaning on. A lot of them ones are you guys are already doing. Property tours, community type content. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to try shit, and the nice thing about being confident and feeling good about yourself is when shit flops, fuck it, I do it again the next day. Nobody's paying that close of attention. So try something from these content pillars and see how it works. This is a lot of work. Scan this one, take a screenshot of it. This is a 7 daily IG action step. If you were to do these action steps to a T, it would probably take you like 40 minutes. So it's a lot of effort, but if you are really trying to squeeze the most juice out of every single post, you do want to try to kind of, gas up the algorithm or it. Easy one to apply. This is a content calendar that I aspirationally wanted to follow. It's a 7-day-a-week calendar. I know some of us want to rest on the Sabbath, some of us don't. So if you want, there's a rest day scheduled into it. But really, it's like if you don't have a calendar and don't know where to begin, use this and just get started. Use this and make it your own. I have 20 other pieces of content, right? I wasn't smart and prepared enough to make this like an email grab, so if you scan it, it's going to take you straight to the presentation. You're going to have all these slides. That's everything I got. God bless Houston. God bless Real Estate Video Blueprint.
You got through it all. No, you're going to stay up. We're going to do some Q&A.
How fast was that?
You're great. That was perfect. You did so well. Give it up for Chris, y'all. Go over some stuff about your bio first, though. Okay, are you cool with that? And so I need to know. Okay, so you create more content with Joaquin. Where's Joaquin?
Joaquin, it's my boy.
Joaquin, love Joaquin. You create more content with Joaquin than like Andy and I need to set up clearly. So I love that. You're married to, he said a doctor, but she's a surgeon. So like that's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, pretty awesome. You have the cutest baby ever. He's my future son-in-law.
I can't wait.
You're still trying to get him to meet. I'm pretty sure he exists, but we'll see.
He's real.
You climbed Mount Everest. You climbed another mountain that I can't pronounce, the Yep. You ran the ultra marathon.
I didn't, but I tried.
Oh, okay, sorry. Tim texted me and said, ultra marathon, write that down. So I wrote it down. And then you had a wrestling career? A wrestling career, and then you also could have been the next.
How did you guys find me?
It pays to be friends with your mom.
Becky is a lovely woman.
Yeah.
We love her a lot.
135-pound OC freshman champ. Don't fuck with me in the hallways.
He's 140 now, so.
145.
All right.
153.
All kidding aside, that was amazing. So with all the content that you're creating for your listings, we're gonna go off Q&A, but I want to start it because I have things I want to ask. So with all the content that you're creating for your listings, have you seen any increase in commission, or have you created any structures around like the amount of you're putting in so much time, creativity, energy, like resources into your listings? Are you charging more than your competitors?
Yes and no. So I have a menu of commissions for the sell side. We're working on a new one on the buy side. But I want to say maybe, I can't remember what event it was not so long ago that we started developing this commission. And oh, thank you.
I hacked your system.
Perfect. So we created this menu that is not very pretty, right? And I've tweaked it a little bit for this presentation. At the very bottom, which they cut off, it said like investment opportunities. It's not that important, but my point is you're doing a lot of shit, right? So it's important to write down all of that shit in like buckets for the consumer. Do you have the next one, the content piece? You didn't
I
put
think I
that?
said that.
Okay, so there's another page that I prepared about the content because in preparing for this, it's making my business better. So I had this commission offering sheet on the list side, but if you were to look at that, there's nothing in there that says how many pieces of content that you're gonna get, right? So in preparing for this, and it's going to be in your slide deck, I have another one that says at 3% you would get this kind of content. At 3.5%, you would get this kind of content, and at 4%, I wouldn't have expected any of you guys to see this, but I just sold this house and did like an unreal launch campaign, and for that kind of action, I put it under the 4% category.
Chris, what's your average price point?
My average price point is about $820,000. I'm in LA, Orange County.
Don't move to Texas.
But you know, it's funny because as I talk to so many creators here and real estate agents, the same work, and I do $400,000 listings. Like I just drove Joaquin 2 hours to shoot a $400,000 house in Rosamond. That's like out by Bakersfield for anybody that knows Southern California. But I don't really give a shit about the house, and maybe I need to change my attitude about that. I give a shit about the experience, right? So if someone's gonna pay me 4% for a $400,000 house, they're still gonna get a fucking rock star experience because that's what they deserve, right? It's up to me to stop selling $400,000 houses.
Who's got some questions? Up top, we got questions up top?
He's been dying to throw this upstairs. Please. If you want to, you got a question?
Ready? You guys may want to say just in case, you know.
Prepare a cake.
All right, nice and loud into that mic. Nice and loud. You got to tell them where you're from, who you are. Go. Ray. All right, Ray, what do you got?
We had hands raised.
I thought they
Ray,
were...
what's your question for the man, Chris?
I was looking at your photos of you with your buyers.
Yes.
I sent that to my team. Because I think we have this huge focus on all the listing stuff, and I love to see like here's just one of the things you do with buyers. That being said, in the new environment that we're all kind of finding ourselves in with some states, are you making any changes to your content to bring in buyers or to educate them about what's going on and then how you're going to serve them?
I love that you asked that question. So when I started in the business, joining my family, we were very buyer heavy. And obviously the more events that you go to and coaches that you listen to, it's like build the listings. And as you love the content, all you want is listings. As the industry is changing and these new rules are coming out, it's really important for us to show buyers what our value is. Tom meant it with love at the real estate video, at the roadmap tour, but in front of everybody, he was like, Chris, you got to stop doing funny stuff and start doing more educational stuff again. And I'm like, fuck, thanks, Tom. Because he wants us talking to the buyer. So to answer the question specifically about things that we are pivoting is as we have to get buyer agency broker agreements signed and as we are pivoting to build these relationships with the consumer at a deeper level because we really have to make this tie on the buy side, we are beginning to create content that is going out into the community so that when I have my commission breakdown sheet, I can show them the buyer version of the services they get. So I'm just thinking out loud with you guys. You guys all know Jason Cassidy? Yep. Jason Cassidy has that wonderful video where he says, if you're seeing this video, it's for a reason. I have a buyer named Laura and she's shopping at the tuna. You guys know what video I'm talking about? I think it's coming in the time where all of us are going to have that video. Whether you have a mythical buyer or not, but I do believe there will be a commission spread where you say, Mr. Buyer, for 2%, if that's what you want to pay, I am going to put out paid ads like this one in neighborhoods that you are looking for. Because how else are we separating ourselves? The other thing that I've started to do, and it's more of a guinea pig test, is direct mail looking for sellers to sell off-market deals. So like, of course I want the off-market listing, but I truly have a buyer who is shopping at like $2 million in a specific neighborhood, and I'm thinking to myself, why does he want to sign a contract with me? What else can I do? I have the resources to send 500 pieces of mail. So all of that stuff needs to be, I think, articulated in a spread like this on the buy side. And I think the nice thing is as we are approaching these changes, we could start doing it now so that when July comes, it's like, look at it, it's been in my presentation, and in fact, they can just like scroll through your Instagram and see that you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Imagine just pulling up your gram and be like, well, this is how I help my buyers, right? And then you show that video. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, we got one more up top. One more question.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, wait, is that Utah Mom up there? Make some noise for Mindy, Utah Mom up top. Nice clap to that microphone.
So you talked about not being able to clap for yourself. And I think that this is a business that requires a lot of grit to have longevity.
100%.
I'm just wondering, like, also as a mountain climber,
Yeah.
mountaineer,
Yeah.
what is the dialogue or the self-talk that you have to keep going, whether it's climbing a mountain, clapping for yourself, or just like getting through a day?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Right, so the toss back.
I'm being so transparent, and I'm very grateful that I know a lot of people by their first names here, so it's like I'm talking to you guys at Friends. I've had a tremendous amount of anxiety preparing for this, and it's been very difficult for me to get ready for this, like other speeches. The reason why you do it is because it is in those very trying times in which you come out closer to a butterfly, right? And I don't know what it is that I believe other than it has only been when I am eating the shit that I build the muscle stronger. So as you are approaching a situation in your life or in your business, and as these changes are rippling into the flow of our life, it's okay that it's making us terribly uncomfortable. And it's okay that you want to kick the buyer consultation down the road that you've been like lagging on because these changes scare you. They scare everybody. The big mountains scare everybody. The stages scare everybody, regardless what they say. The business takes grit, no matter how many years you've been selling. So when it's hard, remind yourself, it's supposed to be hard. And if it wasn't hard, everybody would be doing it. And if it wasn't hard, everybody would be selling the houses. And if you didn't need so much grit, everybody would be putting out the content. So when you feel the resistance, know everybody feels the resistance. And you just need to outrun them.
What? You have a chance, now we had our two top.
Throw it back up here.
You can't. Oh God.
He doesn't even need the mic. Look how loud he
I
is.
gotta go here. We got an insurance policy. I don't know if it covers this. Here we go. And then I'm back. Chris just asked me if he did okay.
Chris, this is amazing.
Thanks,
I
man.
love that you said the creativity comes from doing. I've had my YouTube channel for about 5 years, and over the last 3 months, I've been struggling with this. The consistency, where's the creativity coming from? I haven't felt that creativity. And you just reminded me that just get back to doing what I've been doing, right?
100%.
Stop looking at everybody else and wondering, should I do that dance? Should I do this crazy thing? Just get back to doing.
100%, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
Oh!
All right. 2 rounds. 10 push-ups each. Wait, no. What's your name? Where are you from? Nice and loud and proud.
My name is Marquita. I'm from Kennesaw, Atlanta.
Whoop, whoop.
Joyce Martina. Her first rep meet.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Right up close to that.
I just wanted to say, I totally understand, like, not being excited about what you were doing. I have been excited about that for a long time. So we made some changes recently. So I'm excited about that. But those last slides, the QR code, it was my iPhone.
You're gonna get them all.
We can rescan it.
Clicker's off.
Yeah. I know you got a question. What's up? That was it? You just want the slide? Oh, you want this slide back?
No, I don't see the.
That one.
You're gonna get the slides
This one?
as well.
Yeah, you get all of
You're
them.
gonna get the slides as well.
We'll get you slides. Here's the thing that I like with Chris though. Go ahead, Marky. Let's see the toss. You got it.
I already know that's bad.
All right, let's get some help. Andrew's got it. Look,
Thanks,
one of the
Andy.
things that I love about what Chris said is, who here has trouble making content? They get this thing in their head before they try to make the content. They don't like the way they sound. They don't know if it's good enough, and all the things. Raise your hand. Everybody thinks that. And the people, it's not the people that think differently, it's people that act differently. We all have these same feelings in our content. It's just how we act on those thoughts. And I want to hear your thoughts versus. Did you already do that? Should I talk about that?
My thought. What?
You are not your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, we are not our emotions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you're not when you don't have the ideas, right? And you're also not. This goes to the guys I think that think they're performing at a high level, like Derek or myself. Like I am proud of this creative muscle I've built, but I'm also have enough self-awareness to know that I am not my creativity, right? Because if you are going to jump into the comments section and you're gonna fucking be gassed up every time somebody blows you up, then you suck as much shit as the people that are ripping you down. You feel me? So if you say fuck it to the people that hate on you, then you say
Just, you got Leo right here, Jason's kid. Hey,
My
Leo,
bad,
what's
Jason.
up, buddy? How's it going? Good to see you. Glad you're here. You walked out from backstage.
my bad, Jason, I'm sorry. My bad, Leo. So you can't listen to him. And then, like, just the moral, when it's high, you're not always going to be high, right? So when you're low, it's cool. It's going to pass too.
All right, one more question from the audience.
Back here?
Yeah, let's do it.
I should just.
You gotta give this up.
You guys stand up?
First,
Gonna
Mike
stand
and
up?
toss.
All right, ready?
Jason, I'm sorry.
Hey, not bad. I don't remember what's going on, but all right. Right up close, you guys tell them who you are and where you're from. Yeah.
My name is Maurice. I go by Mo.
What's up, Mo? Chris?
And
Where are you from?
I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Greensboro.
I like to make like funny content.
Yeah.
And like educational, like Amazon is coming to the city and all that kind of stuff is like, I don't feel like myself like making that, but I know like the people need, you know, the education. So I think that's where like I'm having the trouble. Like people know me for the funny stuff. And
What do you think about that stuff that's not you? Like, why do you say it's not your content?
just because the reactions that I'm getting from people, like they are like, oh, I seen the video, you know, like I like that, you know, I'm getting more engagement from the
Right.
things, and like I've tried some of the other, you know, approaches, and
How much have you tried the other?
that much,
Yeah.
like the feedback was different.
Right. I don't, and I'm definitely going to follow you right after this, but my assumption, respectfully, is how hard did you try the other stuff? How long did you try the other stuff for? And then this other stuff, did you try to put the most spin on it, right? Like everybody's making, that's my point. That's my point. So when you're sitting in a chair, everyone knows Byron Lazine? He's a hard one not to know, right? He is like, in my mind, the talking head. It's not the content that I entirely make, right? But if you know Byron, he's an incredibly sweet guy, but it is kind of consistent with his energy, right? Like his pedagogical approach of talking with intensity on camera, that's Byron. So when you're doing that, they're like, fucking Mo don't sound like that. Because it doesn't sound like you, right? So as I'm here trying to censor myself for Leo, there's like this portion of like, it's not quite me, right? Be you. Be you.
So you know that video where you jump out of a trash can or you're talking about like NHA loan?
100% did that.
Yeah. Chris, my question for you is, you've done a question based on content. Who here, like, do we all, most of us follow Chris? Yeah. I've seen his videos, super creative and all that kind of stuff. I want to know what, like, lead generation looks like when a lead comes in. Like, what does that look like when you're actually dealing with a client that has followed
100%. So first thing, very, I hope, obvious, you don't close in the DMs. You guys heard that shit before? You start conversations in the DMs. We start the fire in the DMs, but we still got to pick up the phone or get belly to belly, right? Because things get lost in the sauce. So that would be the first thing that I would say is as a potential lead comes in, because they don't always look like leads, right? It's like the guy that's like, I have somebody who sent me the message today, Chris, you're killing it with the real estate content. This guy has not bought a house. He's not sold a house with me. I know he's renting. He's not saying I'm a buyer yet. But you just started the conversation with me, right? Yeah. So I'm looking for the opportunity to start the conversation with you. So it's like, I appreciate you, bro. What video are you talking about? I'll make more of that stuff. I just
hold on. How easy is that question to answer? Right? Ask questions that are easy for the person on the other side to answer.
Exactly. And right when it begins to get too much for the message, you can find natural ways to ask for a phone number or a better way to communicate, especially when all these people on the internet are kind of people that you've loosely known already. How many times have you had somebody from high school or college send you a message, and how easy would it have been just to be like, hey, I totally thought I had that same number. Are you still this? They'll give you the new phone number. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to send, like when you send a text message like that, who's reading that? Nobody. So you got to find a way to get them on the phone or get them in person. The video content starts conversations. That's the hardest part, right? The hardest part is to get somebody to not pick up the phone, but to keep talking to you after they pick up the phone. The video does that for you.
I love it. Make some noise for my friend Chris.
Thank you a lot.